Jeff Joniak, you are ridiculous.
Mully Haugh, Chicago Sports Radio 6-7 of the Score. Jeff Joniak, the voice of the Bears. And, of course, a dear friend, and he joins us now on the Signature Bank Score Hotline. Signature Bank, making commercial banking personal. Jeff, good morning. How are you, buddy?
Oh, fantastic, Mully Haugh. Good morning. The leaves are getting to be prime time right now, just like tonight. It's looking sweet outside. Just blue skies, and the leaves are just fantastic.
Trying out your good stuff.
Is there a brownish orange going on there, Jeff?
Hey, there is some full flat-out orange in my neighborhood. There is no question. I had a good look at those orange helmets in the locker room yesterday with Tony Medlin, working those babies over, making them sure they're very nice and sweet and ready to roll. They are.
Could you spray paint them blue?
I know, right? I have heard a lot of that from friends and fans, that it's navy blue or nothing. But, hey, with time comes change. We
navy
don't
blue
all love
or leather, Jeff.
Now that would be something. Why not roll them out? Not roll them out?
Jeff,
and I would enjoy that.
Yeah.
An old leather helmet football game over at Wrigley.
The concussion protocol would take everyone out of the game.
It'd be over in one snap.
Jeff, let's hope the game is not an eyesore. So it'll be competitive, and it'll be two teams that have varying degrees of desperation. I think, as we've been talking about it, if you had to pick the more desperate team, it's the Washington Commanders. If they lose tonight, their season gets away from them. If the Bears lose tonight, people will tolerate it as long as Justin Fields plays well. That's the reality of what we see at kickoff tonight at 7:20.
The other reality, though, is that I don't think at any point this season, unless this team is in a role of becoming a contender for a playoff spot, that desperation is ever going to be a word used at Hallis Hall. This is about development and continuing to build and stack performances and, yes, ultimately wins. Where I'd like to see things go tonight is just, again, go back to a quick start theory. They have not had a halftime lead in 5 games this year, including the 2 they won at home. So let's get on board right away, get the fresh feeling what you did in Minnesota. Even though you didn't win, you felt you could have won and probably should have won. And then just go about your business and let's see what they could do at home. They're 2-0 at home. They do feed off the energy, and the energy should be pretty high. I had talked to a couple players about that. This is a young team that appreciates that energy. You got so many rookies on this team, some from small colleges, so, they're not exactly getting wild in some of these smaller campuses, but these guys that are coming from the big conferences, they're used to big crowds and a lot of noise and a lot of action. So let's get it going.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun just to have the Bears back in Chicago, and I think that they will be celebrated and feted based on the fact that Justin Fields played well. I'm not joking. I know. It's extraordinary what a relief that was for people, and I get it. I mean, I said to David, he reminded me of how dominant he was at Ohio State watching him play over the second half. And it was a pity that he wasn't in a position in the final minute to see if he could maybe try to squeeze out a win. I think it's good learning ground.
Well, especially in those clutch moments. So absolutely, you want to get as many reps at that as possible because that's where you make your money as a quarterback, and that's how you're defined. If you drive a team to victory more often than not. There were so many good things that he did throughout the course of the game. Yes, there were some things that didn't go according to what they had hoped, but, you're completing almost 72% of your passes. You took command. You're 12 of 13 in the second half. And on the blitz, he was 5 of 6, 82 yards, but you're not getting dumped. You're not getting intercepted. So that's also a sign of improvement. This team more than likely going to put a lot of heat on the quarterback. They have a very impressive defensive line. Flat out, end of story. They can get to you, and it's going to be a big test for the offensive line. It's my key to the game tonight is how that is handled. It should be all the time, right? The trenches, of course. There's nuances to the whole, predicting what the keys to a game is, but these guys up front they're men. These are bad dudes up there, so they're going to face a lot of this type of stuff coming in weeks to come as well. So this offensive line, this young offensive line, we're going to learn a heck of a lot more as the days go on here in the season.
Jeff, I think we have all been encouraged by the evidence of coaching you see from Matt Eberflus. which is why what's happened in the first half has frankly surprised me. The Bears are giving up way too many points. As you pointed out, they haven't had a lead yet at halftime. And we saw against the Vikings, the offense not ready to play. You can't take a delay of game penalty before your first snap. So how does that reconcile with the good things that are going on? Why are the Bears not better early on?
That's a million-dollar question. Don't know. I mean, I do believe this team is prepared each and every week. This emphasis that I've never heard of about what goes into a Wednesday practice, which this week, is basically walkthroughs, so you got to dismiss that. Just that they set the tone for the entire week. They take it uber seriously. It's a meeting of the minds of double-digit players that sit in an office with the head coach, and they formulate their plan for the week on what they're going to attack and how they're going to go about their business. And Wednesday has to be a special day. It is the linchpin for their week. And so if that's not getting done in the fashion that Matt is comfortable with, or that it's not translating to immediacy on Sunday, yeah, I mean, as coaching staff, you're gonna pinpoint the reasons, and you're gonna try and figure it out. I don't have an answer.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. I think that when I look at them offensively, it seems as if when they are charting out the plays to open up the game, they're doing well. They against every team, they're marching down the field and getting a field goal at least, right? And they scored a touchdown against Green Bay. I think that element of the game plan is good. It's just hard to sustain, and that might have as much to do with the overall talent as anything else, or the adjustments in game. What's weird with the defense is that they don't seem to really take that step forward until they get to the second half.
I know. So when they marry together, look out. Yep. Explosion, fireworks. But, you also can't put, in my opinion, Dave, and of course, you played. I don't know. Mike, did you play high school football?
I went to a seminary high school.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Go
that's
and be
right.
a fisher of men. I played high school soccer.
That's right. I didn't want to take that away from you if you didn't. But and I didn't. So I biggest regret of my life that I didn't even try. However, that's a story for another day, and a couch and a psychologist. So let's discuss, though, that
get comfortable, buddy.
Yeah. Blasting game, he's not on the field. You can't put all 53 guys on that day or 46 guys on that day in one pot. It's one guy who wasn't where he's supposed to be. So I do think they're prepared. I think it's just these pockets of issues that you hope you iron out sooner rather than later.
Thanks, Coach. I'm just saying, that's evidence of coaching. Come on. I know it's one guy, but you're responsible for.
Hey, but the players got it too, right?
Know.
The player. Come on,
saying,
how
Jeff,
could you?
That's sloppy. It's a sloppy.
It is.
I
agree.
play.
Believe me, I was my blood pressure was rising when I saw that. I'm like, wait, what's going on here?
When Tom is trying to settle you down, I know it's a big play.
Yes, it is. Yes.
All right, so let's talk about what we're going to see tonight from the Commanders. I think Carson Wentz is a guy who will throw you the football. Jeff, he also has had 2 games this year with over a 100 passer rating. So as much as he hasn't been the quarterback they've needed him to be, thanks, Ron Rivera, for telling us that, he hasn't been the guy that maybe scares you like other quarterbacks on your schedule. He can still hurt you if you let him. I think the Bears have to try to figure out a way to get into the pocket and make it collapse and pressure him.
That's right, because sometimes he gets sloppy in there with his feet, and so he's not leaving. He's only got 3 rushing first downs, so that's not something that you're worried about there. But he can move in the pocket. But like all these quarterbacks, the pocket passers, he excels in a clean pocket. So if you get dirty around his feet, maybe that can get a little nasty for him. But you look at some of his numbers. So on first down, he's been he's been solid. Nothing spectacular. Third down, he's got a 92.6 quarterback rating and 64% completion percentage. Where the trouble hits for him is red zone. His completion percentage goes way down. And then in the fourth quarter, his numbers are not as solid either. He's got 4 interceptions and 7 sacks in the fourth quarter. So when the heat's been turned up, that's when he has not been able to deliver. But yeah, he still scares me. I mean, he's got a great arm, and he's got weaponry. And even though they're not going to have Jahan Dotson, they may have found somebody who hadn't, up until the Tennessee game, done much in his career and only had 8 targets. No, now has 8 targets, and that's De'Ami Brown. He had a 75-yard touchdown. He had 2 touchdowns in the game. So you don't want somebody like that sneaking into the mix here as well, but that's certainly a void they have to fill without Dotson. Terry McLaurin is explosive, and I did dip into radio in Washington this week to hear what the hubbub was. And, in addition to Coach Rivera, it's why can't we get the ball more to Terry McLaurin? So I went back, and he's had games where he's had double-digit targets, just not this year. So given what's gone on against the Bears, and you saw what Justin Jefferson did, I'd be a little nervous about Terry McLaurin tonight getting a lot more opportunities in the passing game.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting to just contemplate what progress is for the quarterback. How do you top what you did, or how do you complement what you did? What would be, you're looking for consistency now as much as spectacular. Yeah. What do you anticipate? And, I love the whole yoga breathing and all that. That was fun stuff.
Oh, you're talking about Justin here.
Yes.
We're talking about Carson.
I'm
Okay,
turning it back.
Okay. So difference-making plays. The 53-yard touchdown run would have been a difference-making play, and his entire package. While if the Bears win that game, he's a national story. Would you agree?
No
because
question.
of that play.
Yes,
He's an eye-popping story, and here we go. Justin Fields is getting it, and I do believe that's the next. Keep stacking those types of performances and plays, and that'll make a difference. Your players are going to start to have even more belief in you. They do believe in him. They talk about it all the time. So let's see how it plays out against this unit. It's not going to be simple tonight, that's for sure.
Jeff, I am concerned about the Commanders' defensive front. If I'm concerned about one thing, Jonathan Allen can wreck this game plan for the Bears. I don't think single-handedly, but he would concern me the most, especially if they haven't solved some of their issues with Sam Mustipher and the guards. The interior 3 concern me almost as much, if not more, than the young tackles because of Allen's presence tonight. Can he alone, is he the guy to stop if you're looking at that defense?
Man, I there's no question he's an outstanding run stuffer as well. But Montez Sweat is also a dangerous guy. It's a 6'6", 260-pound. Yeah. Remember this guy? He ran a 4.4 140.
That's right.
He's got super long arms and a big wingspan. So when he's tough to deal with. When he puts that long arm in a guy's chest, he creates a lot of space for him to make some moves. So that's a guy also to be concerned with. Deron Payne also is an elite run stuffer. So these 3 guys right there are dangerous for the Bears, and they got to neutralize them at that line of scrimmage for sure. You hit the nail on the head because the linebackers, they do get a lot of cleanup stuff. Cole Holcomb is a good tackle guy. Jamin Davis, the first-round pick out of Kentucky a couple years ago, he can blitz, but he's had some issues in pass coverage, so somebody you might want to isolate.
The Bears, we threatened to ask you about them in prime time. It's been an ugly story. They have gone like 3-10 in the last 3 years. I believe 0-4 last year. Why? Why is it different now? Why are they ready for prime time?
Well, I never look to those types of stats as an indicator of what might happen tonight because it's an entirely different program, different team, different program, different players. So this is an infancy step for this young team. Mm-hmm. These baby Bears are going to learn what it's like when the bright lights are on. They get a taste of it, obviously, in Green Bay, but now they're on their home turf. You want to own it, you start there tonight. You got a 2-0 record at home. If you're looking for positives, that's what you build on right there. Hey, if you ever want to be a playoff team, you got to go 7-1, or if you're not having 9 home games, 8-1, 7-2 at home, 6-2 at home to ever even really consider being a playoff team. So you got to start defining what your home field is going to be like and make it ugly, make it nasty for the opposition, be an irritant, and no matter what happens, make them feel like you went through hell at Soldier Field tonight.
Jeff, if you can find growth in a loss, and certainly people do that with the quarterback, and I understand that, but when you look at the secondary, as absurd as it might sound, given the day that Justin Jefferson had, did you see individual progress from the Kyler Gordons, from Kendall Vildor, who had the big pick, from even Jaquan Brisker? Did the secondary oddly have an encouraging day in Minnesota?
I would say so, because of the second half adjustments and doing what they're being told technique-wise to get it done. Jalen Jones, over the course of the game, did that. He did make his tackles. You didn't see, granted, he made the catches, but the worst thing would have been if Justin Jefferson added 4 touchdowns to his resume, because he's that type of player. You hit him, you brought him down to the ground. There was too much cushion on some of those throws, and I don't want that to happen, tonight. Same story. You got to tackle these guys, especially a guy like C.J. Samuel, Curtis Samuel. He's a thicker guy, can run a lot of those jet motion and reverse plays that you see around the league right now. And Terry McLaurin, they call him Scary Terry for a reason. He eats cushion and can get on you in a big hurry. So, yes, 11 tackles for Jalen Jones. He didn't have many missed tackles. Kyler Gordon tackled extremely well. And that has been that is a guy that I'm not gonna he's a key pivotal figure for the future for the Bears secondary, especially in that nickel spot. Jalen Johnson coming back tonight, I think that's going to be a big relief as well. Nobody's thrown at him yet, so we'll see if that happens tonight when you're coming off a quad injury. Are they going to test him right out of the gate? Because I would, if he's lined up in the face of Terry McLaurin, I'd test him right away to see just where his mind is at about his injury. And then Kendall Vildor continues to get better. I had a conversation with him Friday in the locker room. His confidence is tops right now. He's feeling very good about where he's going, and if anybody was closer to the face of Justin Jefferson, it was him a couple yards off the line of scrimmage. So he took that assignment and he embraced it as best he could in dealing with a dynamic player like that. So yeah, but they need some pass rush too. And if these guys this is the night. Let's see what the pass rush is, because Carson Wentz will wait in the pocket until he gets clobbered. And so this is the night where you got to get some pressure.
Great stuff, Jeff. Great catching up with you. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks,
All right,
Jeff.
fellas. Talk to you.
Yep.